Okay, let's bring up our another amazing all-star, LaVannah.
Okay,
What's
there
up?
we go. Can you hear me?
I sure can. How are you
Okay.
doing?
I'm great. How are you all tonight, this evening, wherever everyone is?
Oh, I bet everybody's amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Before we share your story about how far you've come, could you share where were you before you met me? What were some of the things that you were struggling with?
So where I was working in government positions. So I was working for the state, pretty much just doing my 8:30 to 5.
Yeah.
And trying to manage the fact of before meeting, I was pregnant with my second baby. And so we were pretty much trying to figure out this life, my husband and I, because my husband has the entrepreneur mindset, and it has rubbed off on me. And so it was like, okay, so that's where I was pretty much doing. I was pretty much working for the government, and then at the time I was volunteering a lot at my church, pretty much being the secretary to my pastor at the time, and then being a mom. So a lot of volunteering was what I was doing in addition to my workforce job.
Yeah. So why would you want something different though?
Because well, the my job just was that. It was just the job. Like
Mm,
I was thankful. You know, I definitely was thankful because the position, the job that I had at the time, I was one by the grace of God. I didn't lose my job during the COVID. You know, and
yeah.
so literally I was able to still work from home. I was
Right.
able to work from home for a while, but the passion, it just became a routine.
Yeah.
And then when my second baby came, um, it was a thing where I'm like, okay, I was working from home. I was keeping her home, but it was a lot to balance. That's what it was.
Mhm.
It was a lot to balance when it comes to work and being a mom. And
Yeah.
the shift came where they switched my manager, and a lot of over managing, micromanaging began to
Mm,
become too much. And so I also felt like I wasn't being the best mom. And I know I'm a great mom, and I'm
yeah.
saying that humbly, okay?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and so then I'm like, okay, something gotta give. And a friend of mine had one day mentioned, because her and I had have children around the same age.
Yeah.
And so when people see how I kind of parent my children, um, she mentioned a comment and she said, "Oh, I can see you as a daycare." I said, "Oh no, I am not opening a daycare, okay?"
Yeah.
And I knew I didn't want to do that
Yeah.
because my first child was in daycare, and I already understood, like, that daycare owner was open from as early as 5 a.m. to, if the parents come on time to pick up their children,
Right.
5 p.m. or 6. Um,
Yeah.
and before working for the government, I did have like a job where I was working for a rental company where I was working 12-hour shifts, and I'm like, I don't want that.
Wow.
So that's when I'm like, literally, I'm like, I wish it was a way to just, if I can skip the infant stage and
Yeah.
just do the ones that can talk and communicate. Hey,
Right.
you know. And
Yeah.
so she mentioned the daycare thing. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. No,
Right.
no. So that's where the shift came in, when I realized, once I had my second child, and then the micromanaging came, and it was like, I have to do something different.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, Micromanaging is no joke. Like there's been a couple times when just recently I was working with somebody in kind of like a contractor employee type of role. And like if somebody comes into my space telling me how to do something, I'm just like, what? Like there's just some kind of people that like, we don't like to be told what to do, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it was a lot,
Yeah.
and it was like, and I know that a leader, which I know that's one of the gift God has given me as a leader, and I know a great leader knows how to follow and when to follow, and so, but with this, it was like every like hour, 20 minutes, 30 minutes or something. I said, okay, something else. We got to find something else, Lord.
Well, so everything kind of hit that boiling point for sure. And then when did you find me?
So, your ad came up on Instagram.
Nice.
And I believe that before I even got your book, it was the ad first. And it was a few months before April. I know that because I remember sending it to my husband. And I was like, oh, look at this. This is cool. All right. And that was it. That's where it stopped. And so I saw that. And then you came up on Facebook. So I was on Facebook. So then you came up on Facebook. And I'm like, okay. So then that's when I saw the link of get my free book. I said, okay, well, let's just start here. I'm like, we can start a preschool. Let's just start here. So I got the book, but I did the challenge in April. The book didn't come yet. So I did the challenge in April. And I actually end up coming at the very latter end, maybe day 5.
Right.
And now when I really went to do my research and I said, oh, she has a 7-day challenge. Okay. Yeah. And so I joined the challenge, not even knowing that you only open April and October. I didn't know.
You're like, I'll take my time.
Right. And I joined the challenge because my husband is always talking about these different challenges that he gets involved in.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, well, maybe it's just one of those things. And so I got in and I'm on day 5 and literally trying to catch up on everything when it comes to everything. Right. So I joined the challenge in April and then the doors was about to close for Preschool All-Stars. And I'm like, oh, it's the fear of missing out. I said, oh, okay, I'm just going to do it.
Right.
Next thing I know, I'm clicking away and here I am.
Yep. Oh, I love that. So you jumped right in, obviously. And then did you post your script? I remember actually.
Yes.
So the script in April was different than what we just did. It was a sponsorship so people could donate to your preschool for a fundraiser. So share how much you made in your fundraiser.
So actually, when I did my fundraiser, even though it was past the deadline, altogether, even afterwards, I ended up raising $1,500.
Yo, $1,500. I love that. So that's our 1K in 1 day script that we're going to be doing next week inside of Preschool All-Stars. So you want to be in on that. We have many women who get 1,000, 500, 1,500, 2,000. We even had Linda K. She made $2,700 and she was going to be on here tonight, but she needed to rest a little bit. So yeah, she made a lot. So holy cow, $1,500. Now let's bring it to the moment of truth. You jumped in, you're doing your preschool, you got some students and stuff. Are you still working the full-time job? What happened to the job?
Absolutely not. So, all right. So April, I was still working and I was trying to do the 30-day challenge, so I was taking I was doing what I could. And because it said 30-day for me, I wanted to do it in 30 days, but it was challenging to work full time to try to do the 30 days, mom, wife, volunteer, all of that.
Yeah.
And it just, when it came, and so my husband and I did talk and we had talked about, okay, the plan of what we were going to do with my oldest. Were we going to send her back to school?
Right.
Or are we going to do this? And so time was ticking. And we were in May and I had did my founding script and my founding script said I was starting in August and time was just getting closer and closer. And so I was even chatting with my husband, okay, are we going to send her back or is she really going to stay? And so August 15th is when it was my last day at my job.
Yeah.
And so I pretty much had about a week to finish up. Because I had to be open August 20th. So I quit August 15th. And from the 15th to the 28th, it was go time of what I needed to get done when it came to the preschool.
Yeah. And you got it done. That's awesome.
The grace of God. Yeah. And I had to wing some stuff. But the one thing you had said to us where I was like, and I can't remember if it was I think it was actually a Motivation Monday.
Yeah.
And one of the things you had said, this is me paraphrasing, but you were pretty much saying how, because I had already put myself out there, people already see it. They're going to want to know what's going on. People have also donate it, because guess what? They believe in what you have put out there.
Yeah.
And so you can't go ghost and you have these people money
Yeah.
and
You
you're
got to
not,
do it.
you have
Yeah.
to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's what I had in mind, where I'm like, it's no going back. I don't have a
Right.
plan B. I only have
Right.
this. Let's go. so yes. So August 28th, we had our first day. Like I said, I was able to wing things. And what I mean by wing is that because I still had a lot behind the scenes, but of course my families did not know, that it wasn't
Right.
their position to know.
Yeah.
What I did was, for the first week, we didn't do curriculum yet.
Mhm.
However, what I did was a meet and greet. We also did, and I swinged it by doing the meet and greet, and then I also did the assessment to just see where they were.
Yeah.
And then the next week is when we started and wrote out our first letter and everything, because I didn't have nothing recorded, nothing
Yeah.
yet,
Yeah.
no curriculum, nothing.
But all you had to do was wing it. You had to wait. You got to go like, what do I need for tomorrow?
Right.
And get that done for tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Okay, so now your daughter, did you send her back to school? Where's
No,
she at?
nope. So what we do, based on, because I love now that I have my own
Yeah.
schedule.
Yeah.
And so with my daughter, her and I have our time. We schedule about an hour, well, about 2 hours, 3 hours, whereas her and I, and me and her do her homeschooling. And then at 5:00, she gets on the Zoom with me and the other kiddos, and we are learning from 5 to 5:30.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. So go ahead and like see the full picture now, right? Where you were before, what your life is like now. Share what that means to you.
So what it means to me is that I'm stress free. I'm not stressed out. I don't feel like I'm being pulled. I don't feel like I don't feel this battle in my mind where it's like, should I put a hold on this? Should I stick with this job because it's secure and things like that? And so where I am now, like my mindset is like, this is just the beginning for LaVannah. And I know that my goal is to do local. It definitely is to do local. I don't know if you all can tell through my energy, but I need it. Okay.
Yeah.
We have an amazing time on our Zoom, but I know we will have an awesome time in person. Okay.
Right.
So, but the plan is local, and the only reason why we haven't done local, because my husband and I knew that we were going to be relocating. And so I definitely, even though, I definitely didn't want to start something and then all of a sudden I got to tell my students, my parents, like, oh, I'm moving. You got to find your kids to go somewhere else. So no, I did not want that. So when the option came as online, when you're like, oh, you can do this online, I said, amazing. So I'm like, let me at least get this started. Right. This is flowing, so that when I come in local, then guess what? I pretty much have my curriculum that I am familiar with. So when local do begin, then I'm ready. Yeah. So
I love that.
My mind now is like, babe, literally my husband and I were just chatting about, okay, goals for the preschool. Where do we see this 3, 5, 7 years from now? So yeah.
You said this is just the beginning, and here's what I need everyone to hear on this meeting here, because it's so interesting that we have this like, oh, this is what I want, but maybe God has a bigger plan for you, right? And so like we need to realize we have our entire lives ahead of us for us to get to the goals that he wants for us. But like it starts with the beginning. We have no clue where it's going to end up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I keep saying. And even I can't say this because this is a big step, like since maybe 16 years old, I've always worked. And so when I met my husband, he was the first person to really like plant the seed of being my own boss, right? Because when we first dated, he asked me, because like I said, he has the entrepreneur mindset. He knows he wants to be an entrepreneur. Right. And when we first dated, he said, hey, do you want to own your own business? And for me, at that time, I said, never thought about it, but I'm okay with climbing the corporate ladder because I know my worth and everything. Yeah. And so here we are now where I'm like, wow, I am a business owner. And I love it. And it's amazing. And it's something that I love to do. I love kids. I love kids. I don't know. I love kids. Like, they keep
Yeah.
you young, right?
Oh, you're awesome.
I'm so grateful for this platform that you've created. Um, is ABC 1, 2, 3 steps for us. I'm so thankful for you because of the fact that you have laid it out for us. All we have to do is just step in order. And
Yeah.
of course, when we did the Phoenix journey and we did the fear versus what was
Faith.
the yes, fear
Yep.
versus faith. It was the fear of the unknown for me. That's what that was
Yep.
for me. And then I do find myself, there's times, like when you pray and you'll pray about something and then, God will answer, but then you go back and be like, okay, Lord, was that really you? And so for
Yep.
me, it was like, okay, I do feel like I'm on the right path because I'm like, Lord, I don't want to do anything that you do not approve of. And
Yeah.
I'm like, Lord, I just need you to just remind me again that, okay, I am on the right track. And
Mm.
so I kid you not, like when I prayed this and then you reached out and you're like, hey, can we do an interview? And I'm like, me?
Yes,
Really?
you.
And
Well,
so I'm like, thank you.
well, I got to tell you, like, I don't know where you've been hiding. Because like, I don't know how people teach typically unless they post something in the group and I happen to stumble across it, or they happen to post it on their personal and I happen to, it crosses my feed. And so sometimes that happens, but typically not. Uh, and all of a sudden I was just like, hey, I wonder what her videos look like. And I go poke into your hub and I play one of your videos. I'm like, where the heck did this girl come from? Are you kidding me? Like, her energy is tops. And like, I am like smiling from ear to ear when I watch you teach. Like, that's my sign of a good teacher. When
Oh,
I am smiling, when I'm intrigued,
awesome.
when I'm like, I can't stop watching you. It's so fun.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. That's nothing but God. Like literally, when I'm on that camera, when that camera comes, but before I press and record, I'm like,
Well, it
and
doesn't come across that way.
it does it, right? Once that camera's on,
Yeah.
I feel like the kids are right here. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Well,
I
you're
love it.
awesome. Well, we just appreciate you and thank you for everything. And we can't wait to see where you're at 6 months from now.
Yes, ma'am. I can't wait either. Thank you. Thank you, sisters. Preschool all-star ladies. You guys are awesome. Joy, we love you.
Appreciate you. All right. We'll see you later, LaVannah. Bye.
All right, bye.
So again, go to preschoolallstars.com. Friends, the doors are literally closing as we are here.